Hi, everybody. Well, today I wanted to talk to you about some books I've read over the past couple of months. I read a total of 10 books in September and August. So and all of them were pretty good, but I'm going to talk about my favorites, my top. So, and I'm going to start with The Story of Nancy Wake. This is her autobiography. Nancy Wake, the White Mouse. And this is a story of a young Australian woman who comes to Europe in the early 1930s. She studies as a journalist. She eventually moves to France. She marries a French businessman who is wealthy. World War II hits, and she kind of becomes part of the underground, and she helps shuttle pilots to Allied pilots to safety. Eventually, she becomes known because she does such a good job, she becomes known to the Gestapo, and she has to flee herself over the Pyrenees into Spain, and find her way back to England. And that's just part of the story. There's more to it. And so that was really good, and I enjoyed it. I think if you like history, European history and all that, it really gives you a good sense of what it was like to live in France and Europe during that time. At least that's what I got out of it. So, and then the next one I read was The Winter Sea by Susanna Kearsley. And this is a story of a young woman who is traveling down the Scottish coast. She's drawn to these castle ruins, and eventually she ends up renting a seaside cottage near these ruins. And the story kind of goes from there. And there's romance, and it makes for a decent read. It was good, and I enjoyed it. So I also read Susanna Kearsley's The Rose Garden last year. So. And then the next one there we go. Now this is the story of Olive Oatmen, and this is part of a series, an hourly history. Supposedly you're supposed to read it in an hour, and it's on Amazon. I don't know whether you can get printed copies or not, but you can download them onto your Kindle. I think if you have like Prime or Unlimited, you may get it for free. But anyway, and it covers different historical events and people. So anyway, and I just kind of called to me. It looked interesting, so I read it. And it's the story of Olive Oatmen. She was part of the mass migration out west in the United States. She was her family was Mormon. She was part of the Mormon Church. She was kidnapped by Native Americans. Eventually, she was sold or traded to the Mojave tribe, and she was taken in by the chief of the family. Her and her sister they treated her very nice there, and eventually her and her sister probably thought that all her family was dead, but they weren't. Her brother survived the raid, and but her younger sister, Marianne, I believe her name was, didn't live to see her brother. And but afterwards, she traveled all over the country, talking about her experience. It was just really fascinating. It was good. Yeah, it was. If you like history and stuff, it was good. I enjoyed it. So. Okay, I think that's done with that. Okay. And then I finished reading Daphne du Maurier's My Cousin Rachel. And this is a story of, and I touched on this a little bit before in a video. This is a story of a young man, Philip, who was orphaned as a baby, and he was taken in by his cousin Ambrose, who has no children of his own. And he's kind of raised to take over the property, because Ambrose is rich. Eventually take over the property as Ambrose gets a little bit older, because Ambrose isn't really old, but he has health issues and he has to go to warmer climates during like the wet time of year in England. And there in Italy he meets a distant relative, Rachel, and shortly afterwards Ambrose marries and dies. So yeah. And let me read you the first paragraph here. They used to hang men at 4 turnings in the old days. Not anymore, though. Now, when a murderer pays the penalty for his crime, he does so at Bodmin after a fair trial. That is, if the law convicts him before his own conscience kills him. It is better so, like a surgical operation, and the body has decent burial, though a nameless grave. I think that kind of gives you the darkness of this book a little bit, but it was really, really good. And I read Rebecca, Frenchman's Creek, as I said before, and yeah, so Frenchman's Creek and Jamaica Inn. And I think this is one of my top of hers that I've read so far. So I'm definitely going to read more of hers. So, and I finally did it. I read The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And so I finished the series, which is the Lord of the Rings series, which was my goal for this year, was to read this. So I don't think I really need to say too much about this. This is a famous book series. So, but anyway, I would recommend it. So, anyway, I think that is all I have to share with you right now. But I should be back with another video soon. And I'll leave a list of books I've read over the past couple months in the description box below. If you read any of these books or are interested in reading these, please comment. I'd love to hear from you. Please like and subscribe if you are so inclined. And until next time, I'll see you later.